The cargo bay of the Meridian Drifter was supposed to be empty. I checked the manifest 3 times before we left Kepler Station, and Captain Voss had been clear. No unauthorized cargo, no exceptions. But as I moved through the dimly lit bay, conducting my routine sweep, I heard it, a soft, almost imperceptible sound, like fabric brushing against metal. I froze, one hand instinctively moving to the plasma cutter at my belt. "Hello." My voice echoed off the steel walls. Silence. I moved deeper into the bay, weaving between crates of medical supplies and mining equipment. The ship's engines hummed beneath my feet, a constant reminder that we were 3 days from the nearest inhabited system. Whatever or whoever was in here with me, they were trapped. Then I saw them as luminescent, violet-tinged, watching me from behind a stack of supply containers. "Come out," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I'm not going to hurt you." A long moment passed. Then, slowly, she emerged. She was small, maybe 5 feet tall, with a slender, almost fragile build. But it was her features that made my breath catch. Her skin had an iridescent quality, shifting subtly in the low light. Her ears tapered to delicate points, and along her spine, I could see faint bioluminescent patterns pulsing gently beneath her torn clothing. "Please," she whispered, her voice carrying an accent I'd never heard before. "Don't call them." Please. I should have hit the comm immediately. That was protocol. That was my job. Instead, I found myself lowering my hand from the plasma cutter. "Who are you?" Her eyes darted to the exit, calculating. She was terrified, I realized. Actually trembling. "My name is Kira," she said finally. "And if you turn me in, I'm dead." That's when I noticed the scars. They crisscrossed her arms, old wounds that had healed poorly. Someone had hurt her repeatedly. "What species are you?" I asked, though part of me already knew. I'd seen those markings in history files, in classified documents I wasn't supposed to access. She lifted her chin, a flash of defiance in those glowing eyes. "Aileron." The word hit me like a physical blow. Aileron, the forbidden species, officially extinct for 200 years, wiped out in the Purge Wars. The Galaxy Council had declared them too dangerous, too unpredictable, their abilities too threatening to interstellar peace. But here she stood, very much alive. "That's impossible," I breathed. "Is it?" A bitter smile crossed her face. "Or is that just what they wanted everyone to believe?" My mind raced. If anyone discovered I'd harbored an aileron, even for 5 minutes, I'd be executed. The laws were absolute. No exceptions, no mercy. But looking at her, this frightened, scarred woman who'd somehow survived genocide, I knew I couldn't make the call. "How long have you been hiding here?" "Since Kepler Station." 3 days. 3 days without food or water in a cargo bay. She should be dead. "Come on," I said, making a decision that would change everything. "Let's get you somewhere safer." I led Kira through the maintenance corridors to my quarters, the smallest cabin on the ship, but the only one with privacy locks I controlled personally. My heart hammered against my ribs the entire way. If anyone saw us, if anyone questioned why I was escorting a stranger through crew-restricted areas. "Here," I said, ushering her inside quickly. The door hissed shut behind us. She stood in the center of my cramped room, looking around with those unsettling violet eyes. Up close, in better light, I could see more details. The way her hair seemed to catch light like fiber optics, the delicate scales that formed patterns along her collarbone, the intelligence burning behind her exhaustion. "When did you last eat?" I asked. 4 days ago. Maybe 5. She swayed slightly, and I grabbed her arm to steady her. Her skin was cool to the touch, and I felt a strange tingling where we connected, like static electricity, but deeper. She pulled away quickly. "Sorry, I should have warned you." Aileron contact can be intense. I felt something, definitely. A brief flash of emotion that wasn't mine, fear, gratitude, and something else I couldn't name. What was that? Empathic resonance. It's why your council feared us. She sat heavily on my bunk, her energy clearly fading. They said we could manipulate emotions, control minds. But that's not how it works. I pulled out my emergency rations and handed her a protein bar. She tore into it desperately, and I looked away, giving her some dignity. "So, how does it work?" I asked. She finished the bar before answering. "We feel what others feel. Sometimes, in extreme situations, we can share thoughts, memories, but we can't control anyone. We're empaths, not manipulators. Her voice turned bitter. But empathy was dangerous to those in power. Imagine having an entire species that could sense when you were lying, when you ordered atrocities, when you felt no remorse. So they killed all of you. Almost all of us. She met my gaze. A few survived. My parents hid me, raised me in the deep sectors where the patrols rarely go. But they're gone now. I've been running for 6 years. 6 years? You can't be more than. I'm 23. We age differently. She pulled her knees to her chest, making herself small. I've spent most of my adult life hiding in cargo bays, abandoned stations, anywhere I won't be noticed. I sat down across from her, processing this. Why risk Kepler Station? That's one of the most heavily monitored hubs in the sector. I didn't have a choice. The bounty hunters found my last hideout. She touched a fresh bruise on her jaw I hadn't noticed before. I barely got away. The protective instinct that surged through me was surprising in its intensity. Barely knew this woman. But something about her vulnerability, her resilience, called to something deep in my chest. You can stay here, I said, until we figure something out. You don't owe me anything, Jax. She'd read my name off the crew roster mounted by the door. You're already risking your life just having me in this room. I know. Then why? I thought about that. About the years I'd spent following orders, doing my duty, never questioning the system I served. About the classified files I'd stumbled across once that detailed the Purge Wars in ways the official histories never mentioned. The camps, the experiments, the children. Because it's the right thing to do, I said finally. For the first time, she smiled, a real smile that transformed her face. You're either very brave or very stupid, probably both. Over the next 2 days, I fell into a careful routine. I'd bring Kira food during shift changes, check on her between inspections, and spend my sleeping hours talking with her instead of resting. The captain and crew noticed nothing to them. I was just Jax Carter, the reliable cargo master who kept to himself. But everything had changed. Kira told me about Aileron culture, about the beautiful world they'd built before the wars. She taught me words in her language, musical and complex. She showed me how her bioluminescence worked, how it responded to her emotions, dimming when she was sad, brightening when she laughed. And she laughed more each day. Tell me about you, she said on the third night, sitting cross-legged on my bunk while I leaned against the wall. Who is Jax Carter when he's not harboring wanted fugitives? Nobody interesting. I deflected. Grew up on a mining colony, joined the merchant fleet when I was 18, been doing this ever since. That's your resume, not you. She tilted her head, studying me with those perceptive eyes. What do you want, Jax? If you could do anything, be anywhere. No one had ever asked me that before. I don't know, I admitted. I've spent so long just existing, following protocols, doing my job. I never thought about wanting more. That's sad. But her tone was gentle, not judgmental. What about you? What do you want? To stop running. She said it so simply, but I heard the yearning beneath the words. To live somewhere I don't have to hide what I am. To touch someone without them flinching away. Her gaze met mine. To just be. The air between us felt charged. I was acutely aware of the small space, of how close she was, of the way the soft light caught the iridescence of her skin. Kira. I started, not sure what I wanted to say. She moved in, sliding closer on the bunk until she was right in front of me. Can I try something? I nodded, my mouth dry. She reached out slowly, giving me time to pull away, and placed her palm against my chest. The empathic resonance hit immediately, stronger this time, more focused. I felt her loneliness, her hope, her attraction. And I realized she was feeling the same for me. You're not afraid of me, she whispered, wonder in her voice. Should I be? Everyone else is. Her fingers curled slightly in my shirt. Even those who helped me before, they were always scared, waiting for me to do something monstrous. I covered her hand with mine. You're not a monster, Kira. You're the bravest person I've ever met. She leaned forward, and I forgot to breathe. Her lips were inches from mine when the calm crackled to life. Carter, report to the bridge. Now. Captain Voss's voice cut through the moment like a blade. We sprang apart. My heart was racing for entirely different reasons now. Stay here, I ordered. Lock the door behind me. Don't open it for anyone but me. Her eyes were wide with fear. They know. I don't know. Just stay hidden. I left my quarters with my mind spinning. Had someone seen us? Had the ship's sensors detected an extra heat signature? As I made my way to the bridge, I prepared for the worst. Captain Voss stood at the viewport, his back to me, when I entered the bridge. The rest of the crew were at their stations, but something in their postures was tense. Waiting. Captain. My voice was steady despite the panic screaming through my veins. He turned. His weathered face was unreadable. We received a transmission from the Galactic Authority. They're conducting random inspections of all vessels in the sector. My blood turned to ice. When? They'll dock with us in 6 hours. His eyes narrowed. Is there anything I should know about, Carter? Anything that might cause problems during an inspection? This was it. The moment of truth. I could confess now, throw myself on his mercy. Maybe he'd help hide Kira. Maybe he'd even... No, sir. Everything's in order. He studied me for a long moment. You're a terrible liar, Jax. My mind went blank. Sir, I've been a captain for 30 years. I know when a crew member is hiding something. He stepped closer, lowering his voice so only I could hear. I also know about the unauthorized heat signature in your quarters for the past 3 days. I was dead. We were both dead. Captain, please. I want to ask you one question, and I need the truth. Is whatever you're hiding dangerous to my ship or crew? No, I said immediately. No, sir. Absolutely not. He searched my face, then nodded slowly. Then I'm going to be in my ready room for the next 5 hours, going over navigation charts. I won't emerge until the authority arrives. What the crew does in that time is their own business. He turned back to the viewport. Dismissed. I stood there stunned. He was giving us a window. A chance to hide her better, or... Thank you, sir. I'm managed. Don't thank me. Just don't make me regret this. I ran back to my quarters, my mind racing through possibilities. 6 hours. Where could I hide her that the authority wouldn't find? Their scanners could detect a heartbeat through hull plating. Their protocols included searching air ducts, maintenance shafts, even the waste recycling systems. Kira was pacing when I burst through the door. She took one look at my face and understood. They're coming, she said flatly. In 6 hours. I grabbed her shoulders. Listen to me. We can do this. We just need... Jax stopped. Her voice was calm, resigned. There's nowhere to hide that they won't find me. You know that. I'm not giving up on you. Then give me an escape pod. What? No, absolutely not. You die out there. I might die. Or I might make it to an uncharted system. But if I stay, we definitely both die. Her hands came up to cup my face, and I felt the full force of her emotions through the touch. Gratitude, affection, sorrow. You've given me something I haven't had in years, Jax. Hope. But I won't let you throw away your life for mine. There has to be another way. She smiled sadly. There isn't. We both know it. I pulled her against me, holding her tight. She fit perfectly in my arms, and I realized with startling clarity that somewhere in these 3 days, I'd fallen for her. Not just sympathy or attraction, but something deeper. Come with me, I said suddenly. She pulled back. What? In the escape pod. We'll both go. Find somewhere beyond the authorities' reach. The plan was insane, but it crystallized with absolute certainty. I don't want to go back to that life, Kira. Just existing, following orders. I want more. I want you. Jax, you're not thinking clearly. I've never thought more clearly. I kissed her then, pouring everything I felt into it. She melted into me, her own desperation and longing matching mine. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathing hard. Are you sure? She whispered. Completely. We had 4 hours to prepare. I gathered supplies, rations, medical kits, spare clothing, everything I could carry without arousing suspicion. Kira helped, her movements quick and efficient. She'd done this before, I realized. Run in the night with only what she could carry. But this time, she wasn't running alone. The escape pods are on Deck 3, I explained, pulling up schematics on my datapad. Base 7 is closest to my quarters and furthest from the bridge sensors. If we time it right, we can launch during the shift change. Where will we go? There's an uncharted system 3 days from here. Old smugglers' routes pass through it. We can find passage on a ship that doesn't ask questions, disappear into the outer rim. She caught my hand. I need you to understand what you're giving up. Your career, your reputation, your safety. I understand. I squeezed her fingers. I'm choosing you, Kira. I'm choosing us. The look she gave me was worth everything I was about to lose. 2 hours later, we made our move. The corridors were empty during shift change. Crew members focused on their transition routines. We slipped through the shadows, my heart pounding so loud I was sure someone would hear it. Base 7's door slid open with a soft hiss. The escape pod sat in its cradle, small but functional. Enough to keep us alive until we reached help. Once we launch, there's no going back, I said. I know. Kira climbed inside, and I followed, sealing the hatch behind us. The pod's interior was cramped, designed for emergency evacuations, not long-term habitation. We'd be pressed close together for days. The thought sent a shiver through me that had nothing to do with fear. Ready. My finger hovered over the launch sequence. She took my other hand, lacing our fingers together. Ready. I initiated the launch. Warning lights flashed, alarms blared, and then we were tumbling into space. The Meridian Drifter shrunk behind us, its hull illuminated by distant stars. I'd served on that ship for 3 years. It had been my home, my purpose. Now it was just a speck in the endless dark. Do you regret it? Kira asked softly. I pulled her closer, feeling the warmth of her body against mine in the cold pod. Not even a little. She kissed me then, deep and searching, and I felt everything she couldn't say. The gratitude, the fear, the love that was just beginning to bloom. When we finally separated, her bioluminescent patterns were glowing bright, bathing the pod in soft violet light. What happens now? She asked. Now. I settled back, pulling her into my arms. Now we figure it out together. Through the pod's small window, space stretched infinite and unknown. Somewhere out there was safety, a life where Kira wouldn't have to hide, where I could be more than just a cargo master following orders. It wouldn't be easy. We'd face dangers I couldn't even imagine. But as Kira's head rested against my shoulder, her luminescence pulsing in time with my heartbeat, I knew I'd made the right choice. Some rules were meant to be broken. Some people were worth risking everything for. And sometimes, the greatest adventure began with a single leap into the unknown. Thank you, she whispered, for seeing me. The real me. I pressed a kiss to her forehead. Always. Behind us, the Authority ship was docking with a Meridian Drifter. They'd discover we were gone soon enough. They'd search. They'd hunt. But they'd never understand what we'd found in that cargo bay. Not just each other, but hope, the fierce, defiant kind that made you believe impossible things. That love could transcend species and laws. That 2 people against the universe could make it. That sometimes the last of a kind wasn't ending, but beginning. Kira's fingers intertwined with mine, and through our connection, I felt her thoughts echo my own. This is just the start. The end.